Hey guys, we didn't get the video uploaded this morning from church, and so if you were planning to watch that, we apologize, just some tech issues. And last week we were at the lake, so wanted to give you a little bit of the message just to kind of keep us going in the book of Acts. This morning at church, we actually prayed over all of our school workers, those who are teachers, recovery room specialists, custodians, all sorts of different people that serve the schools, because for most of us, school starts this week. Then we talked about a recap of Acts 16 from last week that we talked about at the lake. And that was Lydia, the Macedonia call, the introduction to Timothy, and the jailer. And what we tried to do is identify with Paul and Silas, who are the people on mission. That's one group. And we tried to identify with the demon-possessed girl in Acts 16. I know I'm going through a ton right now. And those who are blinded and their eyes can be opened in Jesus. And then the third one is the jailer. And the jailer is the person who, in a moment of crisis, is open to God's leading for a whole new direction in their life. And so if that's you, or you know somebody who is at that kind of critical moment in their life, we just encourage you to trust Jesus, and he will lead you to a better way. Today, we were in Acts 17, and we looked at mission training, and we called it exegeting the culture, or looking around us, not just at the symptoms that we see, or the stuff that we don't like, but the issues down deep. And we saw that Paul did this, because Acts 17 is all about three places: Thessalonica, Berea, and then Athens, Greece. And what Paul did in Athens is he exegeted or paid attention to the culture to the point where he could affect change. And so I'm just going to go through 3 points real quick. And by the way, Axel is my cameraman, and he is doing awesome. And we're standing in front of Proctor Elementary, where he'll go to 5th grade tomorrow morning. And we're super excited. We're out chalking the block, or encouraging messages being written in chalk out here. So just going to give you a few things. The first is, when we care enough to affect change in our community, the first one is that the heart comes first. Acts 17:16 says, while Paul was waiting for them in Athens, he was greatly distressed to see that the city was full of idols. Basically, he had a heart distress because he did not like seeing that people were worshiping things besides the one true God. So it starts in the heart. When we look around at our culture, it should break our heart that there's many not serving God, but giving worth or value or worshiping things that we would consider idols. The second one is that trust takes time. In Acts 17:19, it says, then they took him and brought him, Paul, him to a meeting of Areopagus, where they said to him, may we now know what this new teaching is that you are presenting. Basically, they trusted Paul enough to bring him into some of their conversations that could lead to life change. Trust takes time. And the third one is breakthrough. There's moments where you can actually break through into somebody's life, and they could turn from darkness to light in front of our very eyes. Acts 17:20 says, you're bringing some strange ideas to our ears. This is what they said to Paul, and we would like to know what they mean. All the Athenians and the foreigners who lived there spent their time doing nothing but talking about and listening to the latest ideas. Paul was basically discerning, or digging in enough to know that they valued the latest and greatest idea over truth. And we want to value truth, which truth is Jesus, and that truth being Jesus sets us free. So what we kind of came to was, Paul came to this moment at the end of Acts 17 where he had exegeted or paid attention to the culture, learned about it, and was able to speak truth into it. So I'll finish with this. Acts 17:22 says, Paul then stood up in the meeting and said, people of Athens, I see that in every way you're very religious, for I walked around and looked very carefully at your objects of worship. I even found an altar with the instruction to an unknown God. Then he says a bold statement. You're ignorant in the very thing that you worship, and this is what I'm going to proclaim to you. The God who made the world and everything in it is the Lord of heaven and earth, and does not live in temples built by human hands. Basically, Paul assessed that they needed a clear and bold word to follow the one true God. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed in our world. We still need this clarity. So as you're sending your kids off to school tomorrow, or going to work, or going to the gym, or all the things that you're going to do this week, I encourage you to think of yourself as a missionary sent by God with peace and joy instilled deep in your soul to be a light to a dark world. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.